Great endings help make our favorite games legendary. A perfect ending sticks with us a long time after the credits are over, and these might be some of the coolest. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 20 of the best video game endings ever. Starting off with number 20, it's God of War Ragnarok. So this game finishes up the story of Kratos in the best way we could imagine by offering the god-killing Lug a happy ending. The epic finale of the rebooted series has Kratos take on Thor and Odin in dramatic boss battles that are so effective just because how emotionally charged they are. By the end of Ragnarok, you've spent so much time with Kratos. We're basically convinced that he'd sacrifice himself to make a better world for his son, but the game smartly takes the story in a different direction. In the most poignant moment of the probably whole series, Kratos gets a glimpse into his future through a prophecy. In his future, Kratos is adored as a god truly worthy of worship. We didn't think a God of War game would be such a tearjerker either, but earning a good ending for the biggest stick-in-the-mud dad of all time turned what could have been probably one of the biggest downers into a real joy. Kratos' son, who's actually a young Loki, gets to spend time with his new girlfriend. They go on their own adventures while Kratos takes care of the ruins they've left by destroying yet another set of gods. It's an emotional and cinematic ending that puts a cap around Kratos' story perfectly. Couldn't ask for a better end for the angriest man in Sparta.
What did you see in there, brother?
And number 19 is Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is an example of an ending that retroactively makes the rest of the game way better. It's a psychological horror game, so in it, James Sunderland travels to Silent Hill to search for his wife. Some caveats, but he received a letter for her, despite knowing for a fact she is dead. So the ending puts the twisted story into context, revealing that James smothered his ailing wife. Dark ending.
She died because she was sick?
No, I killed her.
Only gets more ambiguous with time. We don't really fully know what to think about the tragedy at the center of Silent Hill 2. It's a story of guilt run rampant or a murderer being punished for their crimes. I don't know. The lack of answers is kind of what adds so much power to it, though. The final tragic letter to James from his wife Mary is one of the most heartbreaking monologues in video games. It's an incredible performance in both the original and the remake. The remake smartly adds more to the ending as James approaches the strange otherworld where the final confrontation takes place. The path to the otherworld literally crumbles, and monsters are barely able to attack James, staggering and falling over in defeat as if the world of Silent Hill is falling apart because James knows the truth. It's one of the most beloved endings in video games because it elevated the art form. It showed what a smart story really can do. Just look at how faithfully the remake adapts the story, wisely refusing to add too much more context or answer any lingering questions. No matter what specific ending you get, it's one that still haunts us decades after the original release.
I know this isn't what you would want. But I guess it doesn't matter anymore.
At number 18 is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Open world games don't usually wow us with great endings, but the expansive final act of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a masterclass at paying off the plot in unexpected but satisfying ways. This is also one of the longest ending quests of all time. After botched robbery in the Royal Mint, Henry and his band of rogue misfits retreats to an ally's castle, but they're besieged by an army of mercenaries by morning. So begins the long haul as you defend the castle for weeks. With dwindling supplies, you have to make difficult decisions about who lives and who dies. And the story ends with an epic final stealth mission where you'll need to use every skill you've earned over 100 hours of gameplay to infiltrate the enemy camp. It leads to a haunting confrontation against Henry's sworn enemy. The greatest swordsman of Prague and the killer of your parents is found in a fortified town. As an optional cutscene, you can find your nemesis trying to recover from a crossbow bolt he caught at random at the start of the siege, so you get to choose what to do with him.
I do not want to die in a chair, like some cripple. Let me depart with dignity.
Your decisions all build up to a final moment at the end, where you and your allies raid the castle and rescue your friends at the last minute. If you've made all the best decisions, you can save the most important main characters and earn yourself an emotional meeting with your parents. They might be dead and gone, but in a dream sequence they'll ask if you're proud of the man you'll become, and you'll have to decide if your decisions were just a quest for revenge, blah blah blah. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 doesn't offer any judgment. It's powerful, and it's an exciting ending that drags your characters to the worst situation imaginable. And despite everything, you can overcome the odds and end the game as a hero. After starting the game as a literal penniless naked peasant, all those long hours of effort made this ending feel especially amazing. And number 17 is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Some of the best endings in video game history come from the Metal Gear Solid series, even if they're not necessarily always what we would call totally coherent. But if we have to choose just one, we're picking Snake Eater. The conclusion of this legendary sneaking game completely changes what Metal Gear Solid is about, and it sets the franchise on an alternate history direction that sticks all the way through Metal Gear Solid 5. It makes it one of the most important games in the franchise, and it also helps that this ending has everything we love about Metal Gear. It has the absurd boss fights, dramatic twists and turns, and a tear-jerking finale that left us speechless way back when this game originally released in 2004. Honestly, I still am. I seriously cannot wait to play through this game again when the remake drops. I mean, the ending launches into schlocky high gear with this epic chase across a Soviet base and an unstoppable super tank that chases Snake like a T-Rex. It's a big boss fight against the evil Colonel Vogan, and that's not even the best part. After taking on the main villain of the game, Snake and Eva are forced into a tense stealth section where you have to help a wounded Eva escape armies of over-equipped Russian soldiers, to be frank. It leads straight into the legendary boss fight against Snake's mentor, who you have to put down in one of the most meta gameplay sequences in video games, probably the original meta sequence in a video game. It isn't enough to defeat her in a very tough boss fight. You also have to press the button to pull the trigger. And that's not even the end. The true ending begins after a memorable, incredibly tense game of Russian roulette. Can't really get into the details here, but the final monologue. Eva, your former ally, leaves Snake after yet another betrayal, but reveals the secret facts behind Snake's mission. His mentor, appropriately called the Boss, was never a traitor. She purposefully sacrificed herself to stop the threat of nuclear war. The truth has to remain buried forever, though, and our boy Snake holds back tears as he salutes her unmarked grave, making it probably one of the most memorable endings of all time.
She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
And number 16 is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we have to talk about Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, probably one of the most over-the-top video games of all time. It was also one of the most insane endings of all time. We all know the ending by now. It's hard to overstate how impossible this ending felt while watching it at the time, how a game with barely any story suddenly exploded with an extremely long cutscene, including a new, totally ridiculous character. Everything about the ending of Metal Gear Rising, total camp. The evil Senator Armstrong kicks our hero Raiden, literally as a disembodied comedy crowd cheers. The final confrontation devolves into pure slapstick and cartoon violence, with Raiden skidding along and burning his metal chin, or the main villain suddenly brushing Raiden up in hopes of buttering his new nemesis up for a vote in the future.
I do need capital and votes. Wanna know why? I have a dream. What?
It's literally insane. And then there's the nanomachines. Nanomachines were already kind of a joke to Metal Gear fanatics before Revengeance, but they become truly magical here as Armstrong transforms into a liquid metal nanomachine man. The multi-stage boss fight is probably one of the best ever made by developer Platinum Games, and the entire ending sequence, it might be their magnum opus. The ending of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance made us sit up and take notice. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event. It might go down as one of the weirdest, wildest endings in video game history, and we're happy to say we were there. We played this one unspoiled.
Played college ball, you know. That's a cushy Ivy League school.
And number 15 is Chrono Trigger, or Chrono Trigger, as some of you will correct me. Out of all the classic JRPGs on the Super Nintendo, Chrono Trigger might have the best ending out of the bunch. And only because you have to work so hard to earn it. Chrono Trigger's, it's time traveling, okay? But you have to work hard to truly make the future change. To get the true ending, you need to tackle every major dungeon that appears, and the face-off against the evil alien lifeform Lavos, who's destined to destroy the planet after a certain date. Over the course of the game, you gather up a cast of memorable characters and learn all the ways the future can be ruined for everyone, and when you finally face off against Lavos and defeat its true form, you get a charming little ending as the story goes back to where it all began. In the starting hometown, you'll party with your pals and watch fireworks at night as an awesome musical medley plays you out of the credits. It's one of the best endings in the Super Nintendo era, back when great endings were, rare. Endings were not exactly that big of a deal at this point. We all love the endings for the SNES greats, though. Earthbound, Final Fantasy VI, etc. But Chrono Trigger is the ending that really just touches you. And I don't mean that in any kind of weird way. It's like sentimental and good. And number 14 is Portal 2. Portal 2 ended on such a high note, it's almost sad to think we don't have a sequel to one of the most inventive, fun, and funny puzzle games of all time. It ends with a complicated final encounter against the insane AI Wheatley. You'll actually work with the iconic GLaDOS to defeat this new enemy and take back control of the facility. You use your portal gun to zip around and launch bombs at the big bad guy. It's a real fun sequence. But the clever ending is what left us shocked. So let's back up. Earlier in the story, through funny snippets of dialogue from founder Cave Johnson, portrayed pitch perfect by J.K. Simmons, who is just a badass. And the portal gun only works on surfaces coated with conversion gel. That's why it doesn't work on absolutely every surface. The main ingredient of conversion gel, though, is moon dust. And at the very end of the game, when you're cornered by Wheatley, you look up and see a hole at the facility roof with a full view of the moon in the distance. It's one of the greatest aha moments in any puzzle game. You shoot the portal up to the moon, and you launch Wheatley into space.
Space!
With that, you earn a oddly poetic elevator ride up as the turrets sing a song, and GLaDOS ends the game with a goofy, memorable, and way too catchy song of her own. It's one game that left us wanting more, and we're still kind of patiently waiting for more. And number 13 is Inside. This might have just been another haunting, melancholic cinematic platformer if it wasn't for the bonkers ending. For a game that's typically slow-paced and pretty measured in its scary situations, the ending of Inside is big and loud and brash. It's an explosion of joy we just don't see in a lot of games, and a chance to truly bulldoze through a game that made us feel absolutely weak for the entire runtime. The ending of Inside is a great game turned into a legendary game. So, at the end, your unnamed kid character crawls into a strange containment unit in a lab at the center of a strange, seemingly infinite facility. After crawling into the floating mass of disembodied arms and legs, you merge with it, and you take control, which changes your playable character completely. You're no longer a tiny kid at the mercy of the world. You are an ungainly monster who is an unstoppable powerhouse, able to plow through walls and cause chaos. And you kind of mess up the strange facility that previously tormented you. It's one of the best possible things. Like, one of the best sequences from it is your squiggly monster thing blasts into an executive's office and crashes through the window, splattering the big boss on the floor of the cafeteria while the whole building panics. Curious scientists and onlookers follow your weird monster as it clumsily escapes, leading to a quiet moment of silence after finally breaking free. The big ending in the game, a game that normally feels quite small, and it took everyone by surprise. And number 12 is Titanfall 2. It might be the best Call of Duty campaign of all time, and its ending is the perfect summation of what makes this shooter story so memorable. The actual plot about space nations fighting over a planet, it doesn't really matter. What does matter is the connection between your playable pilot and your robotic companion mech. In the thrilling ending, you'll meet a fleet of enemy cruisers zooming towards a super weapon, and you'll fight across multiple spaceships in one of the best levels ever, leading to a fight on a giant super weapon itself. And the action itself, it's super fun, obviously, but the beating heart of the story is your buddy BT. BT's a mech with a mind of its own, and watching this big friendly guy give us a thumbs up, it's truly heartwarming. After defeating the last bad guy, you and BT are the last ones left to stop the fold weapon before it causes untold devastation. As BT twitches and malfunctions, he plans for your escape and sacrifices himself for you to destroy the weapon.
Protocol 3. Protect the pilot.
BT, what are you doing?
Trust me.
Saving your life and ending the threat forever. BT quickly establishes himself as one of the great video game robots, and this emotional epic ending proves that Titanfall 2 is a game where developers can make a pretty straightforward story work better than any other Call of Duty.
Glad to have you back in one piece, BT.
Over 25,000, actually.
And number 11 is Super Metroid, a game that added atmosphere to exploration. For a game from 1994, the alien planet of Zebes was just like dripping with dread. From the opening sequence on the abandoned space station, complete with dead bodies and escaped alien menace, there's a sense Super Metroid goes above and beyond with its environmental storytelling. It's a game purely about exploring a strange planet, but it's just packed with all these story details. And those details culminate in a dramatic final sequence that took absolutely everyone by surprise. After unlocking the final area of the game, Samus Aran confronts her old nemesis, the Mother Brain. It's a fight that's a reference very much to the earlier NES game. Even back in 1994, developers were injecting nostalgic callbacks to their previous games. But the battle changes when Mother Brain grows into this hulking monster form. It's probably, honestly, one of the most cinematic fights in history, which would mean you're not actually meant to lose. Once you deal enough damage, Mother Brain unleashes this deadly beam that drains Samus's life super fast. There's nothing you can do. It's essentially a cutscene playing out in real time with you in control, and it's a genius method that very few video games even bother to copy, even though it is very effective storytelling. Right before Mother Brain lays the final blow on Samus, the Metroid alien creature you've been hunting the whole game appears and sucks the life force out of the boss, giving it to Samus instead and supercharging her. The beam hypes us up and gives us all the tools we need to win. Then you got this high-stakes escape from the planet, forcing you to use every skill you've learned traversing the planet before it blows up. Your little Metroid buddy sacrifices itself for you too, earning its place as an all-time legendary little monster buddy. We salute you, Metroid. And number 10, it's Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. This does more than add an awesome story campaign to Cyberpunk 2077. It also adds a totally new ending with visiting Hollywood actor Idris Elba. The big man promises to help you with the fatal relic problem in your head. If you agree to his demands, you'll earn your happy ending. Heavy air quotes here, obviously. It all costs you. What, you might ask? What does it cost you? Well, you have to hand over a desperate woman to the evil government that wants to experiment on her forever. This leads to one of the longest and most oppressively elaborate endings on this list. After completing the story campaign, which does have its own great endings, you'll meet up with the new USA government and take a ride out of Night City. You get one final meeting with Johnny Silverhand, with Keanu Reeves giving a surprisingly vulnerable performance that's totally new to the game.
Just glad you'll pull through, and that I got the chance to call you my friend.
that's just the start, because after the surgery, your V learns the removal process has made them unable to accept any more cyberware. Basically, you're turned into a normal, boring human being, and thus begins an affecting, interesting ending that calls into question everything we fought for before this point. Returning to Night City, you learn that the evil Arasaka Corporation fell apart on its own without your help, and the city's just become a web of corporate interests. Old stopping grounds have become corporate owned, freedom is slowly eroding, and the fun of Night City is just draining out before your eyes. But it isn't all bad. A conversation with another normal human puts the situation into perspective. Maybe you really never were that special, and your existence as a regular Joe isn't that bad. You're just another face in the crowd, and the world is going to change no matter what you do. And number 9, it is Undertale. If there's one thing you'll feel while playing through Undertale's multiple-part epic of an ending, it'll be this. Determination. After facing off against the godlike flowy monster that breaks all the rules of the weird little black and white game you've been playing so far, throw in a meta monster made from a kaleidoscope of full-color photos, you're too strong to give up after a sad ending. No, defeating the ultimate evil, that's not good enough. You gotta make friends with everybody. So after another reset, you explore the darkest corners of the world, checking out a mysterious laboratory with weirdo creations before facing off against the true villain. Instead of bashing him into oblivion with attacks, you'll use the power of friendship to drag the bad guy out of the darkness. It's an exciting ending that uses cinematic techniques similar to Super Metroid to make you really, really struggle to win, while also giving you the best chance possible to succeed. You're meant to despair as you're 1 inch closer to failure before the game gives you everything you need to push through and beat seemingly impossible odds. For a game with such crude graphics, this thing makes the final battle and your victory one of the hypest video game moments ever. And number 8 is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Speaking of hype video game moments, this one has got... it does everything in its power to one-up the impressive ending of Breath of the Wild, which makes it one of my favorite endings from the entire series. If you can make it through the dozens and dozens of hours it takes to get there anyways. After fighting through the deep underground depths of Hyrule Castle, now covered in killer gloom poison that permanently lowers your total health, you'll face off against Ganon in one of his most impressive forms. Demon King Ganondorf is an intimidating boss and one of the best showdowns of the entire series. But it's what happens after that makes it one of the best endings. After bringing down Ganon hand to hand, the Demon King transforms into a giant dragon. Link is helpless, but Zelda appears in full dragon form to save the day. Zelda as a dragon is going to take way too long to explain, so just go with us here. With Zelda's help, Link dives in the sky, fights Ganondorf, and then zips back with the help of Zelda. It's great. Watching these truly enormous beings interact in the actual skies above the Hyrule we've been playing in all along it's an impressive technical feat for the Nintendo Switch, and it's just plain one of the best ending sequences in any of the games. It's exciting, it's awe-inspiring, it's pure gameplay, and we just need more of it. And number 7 is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Every chapter of Ghost Trick has a high-stakes premise. You have seconds to save somebody before they die. Whenever a puzzle begins, you need to think fast, act faster, to change the world using your very limited ghost powers. If your goal is to save just one person from an assassin in Ghost Trick, then the ending tops that in a big way. By the end of the game, you're here to fix history and save literally everything before the counter reaches 0. At the very end of the game, your ghostly form boards a technologically advanced nation's spy boat to stop an elaborate assassination plot, all part of a complicated conspiracy, which pretty standard for video games, but the story really goes off the rails when you encounter another ghost with the same trick powers as you. And the only way to escape the death trap is by reversing time to the moment that began everything, which was a hostage situation 10 years ago involving a meteorite. That trip to the past leads to more than a few revelations, like that Missile the dog. Yes, the dog named Missile. He's the true hero of the whole game, waiting 10 years, which is a very long time in dog years, to help prevent the catastrophic future. It's completely insane. It ends with a super happy ending and another revelation. Your ghostly detective character was a stray cat this whole time. It's a twist ending, especially for the cat lovers out there. And number 6 is Nier Automata. Definitely has the most endings out of everything on this list. There's endings flying out the wazoo on this game. You can earn an ending doing practically everything, but the real meaningful ending is ending E. After experiencing multiple cycles of the story, your new game, it changes and you eventually begin playing with an entirely new character, and it gets weirder from there. After your ally, A2, turns against you, you'll have to fight her in a dramatic and ultimately pointless battle. Well, every battle in Nier Automata is pointless. You eventually learn about the cyclical nature of the world, and there's no way to break free of the loops, and the robots keep repeating in their endless wars. It's a lot, but after so many replays and so much repetition, you're made an offer at the very end. During the final set of credits, you're forced into a space shooter with limited lives and an onslaught of letters. Yes, letters. As the music swells, you can choose to either gain help from the others in the world, the music merging into a medley of multiple languages as you're given the strength to overcome the odds, and at the very end, you too can delete your save file to give everyone else a chance. It's a weird, unbelievable, and just like very meta sequence that tests you for sure. Deleting a save might be the ultimate sacrifice in video game terms. That tension and the gameplay sequence that's part of it is what makes this ending one of the most unique ever.
You worked so hard to unlock debug mode and chapter select, but they will no longer be available to you. Do you still wish to help? You may not receive thanks for your efforts. Some may say that your efforts are purely for show. Do you still wish to help? And you are truly, truly sure about this? Very well. In exchange for all of your data, I will convey your will to this world.
At number 5 is The Wonderful 101, one of the most over-the-top endings of all time. The Wonderful 101 is a game more people need to experience, and you control 100 tiny little guys that combine into giant weapons, but the drama and fast-paced action of Platinum Games is also present. At the end of this game, you're not just controlling 100 tiny little Power Rangers, you're controlling 100 tiny little Power Rangers in their giant-sized mechs, combining into even bigger giant-sized fists, swords, guns, and more. It's a game that is about excess, and that excess explodes in the final chapter. The final boss is already epic, a giant brain monster with multiple forms and an awesome boss theme, but it's the very end that's truly memorable. After finally defeating the alien overlord, the cosmic monster decides to blow up the Earth. To stop him, you have to tap buttons like you have never tapped buttons before. It is one of the longest button tapping sequences we've seen in a video. It just goes on and on. It becomes more and more ludicrous as we watch all the characters in the control room also tapping buttons. It's just crazy. It's so silly, honestly. In a good way, of course, I mean that. And if you've never experienced Wonderful 101, you might want to try picking it up on PS4 and PC. It's a whole lot easier to play than the Wii U original. And number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy, the game, a surprisingly sincere game despite its cast of smart aleck aliens. In one of the most surprisingly good video game movie tie-ins, the developers behind Deus Ex Mankind Divided did the impossible and might have even improved on the movie versions of the characters, making us care deeply about their struggle against the universal truth. After invading the church's ship with an army of rampaging space monsters, your team faces off against their leader, Raker, and the matriarch of the church, a girl named Nikki, that our main character Star-Lord believes may be his actual daughter. At the end, instead of defeating Nikki in battle, you'll enter her promise. Every character is made an offer, showing the young woman's dreams of bringing back her mother and living with her family. It is a heartbreaking scene that ends in triumph and leads to an even more fun scene. Not all of these endings have to be tragic after all. After strutting your stuff and basking in the glory of a job well done, the evil godlike entity Magus appears. And the only way to beat this rhyming doofus is by throwing insults at him, and he throws those entire planets back at you, naturally, with the power of teamwork, friendship, and all that sort of cheesy stuff we love. The Guardians win and earn their happy ending. It's a joyful ending that elevates a very good game. The developers at Eidos were given a bad assignment to make a lame movie game, and man, did they go well above and beyond.
Already here, Mantis!
Oh, say hi for me!
Celestial Madonna sends her greetings. Look out! Nothing beats this!
Who's next? Nobody?
These people fight without fear. They have fully embraced the promise.
And there's millions more where they came from.
And number 3 is Halo Reach. Halo has a good track record when it comes to endings. Most of the main games have an ending that gets us hyped and eager to play more, but the heartbreaking ending of Halo Reach is a somber reminder that not everybody gets to walk away from every battle. Master Chief might be a hero that never fails in this mission, but the Spartans of Halo Reach are very fallible, and you'll watch them die one by one as the story progresses. If you know the lore of Halo, you already know the planet Reach doesn't stand a chance against the Alien Covenant. The planet's fate was sealed at the start, and yet you're told to keep fighting anyway. Your Spartan stays behind on the planet, using a giant orbital cannon to blast Covenant ships and help the Pillar of Autumn escape. That's a ship that reaches the original Halo ring world from the first game and saves the universe, but the story doesn't end there. Stuck on the planet and surrounded by an infinite army of alien soldiers, your final objective is to survive. Now, you won't last long. The game truly ends when you die here, but it's a defiant ending that gives us chills even now. At number 2, The Last of Us. The ending is, of course, why we're all still talking about this. The controversial final moments of the game were a lightning rod of debate in both the game and the HBO adaptation, the game being the better version. Fight me. There's, of course, a good reason why it's one of the most talked about video game endings. It's divisive because we grow to love these characters so much, and seeing our man Joel betray Ellie in even a small way is pretty shocking. I don't know, I could really get into a lot of what I have to say here, but let's rewind. The Last of Us is about a guy transporting an immune girl during a zombie fungal apocalypse, I guess, to a laboratory where a cure might be made. After a full game of the main character Joel and his back-talking road companion Ellie learning to love each other like family, we're ripped apart at the Firefly base where the cure is possibly made. As it turns out, the procedure to extract the cure will kill Ellie, and Joel won't stand for it. In an intense scene, Joel fights his way through the hospital, killing his way through a small army of former friends and allies to save Ellie. It's a brutal scene as we see the dark side that Joel's been trying to hide from Ellie the whole time, and he continues to hide it in the enigmatic final moments of the game. At the very end, we switch perspectives to Ellie after she wakes up from her medically induced sleep. Before returning to Jackson, the safe town where the pair plan to make a home, she straight up confronts Joel. He lies about what happened at the Firefly base, and she accepts it. The single lie is more gutting than any of the violence that preceded it. It's the moment we feel the distance from Joel as a character. It ends in a moment of deep ambiguity, and the entirety of Last of Us Part 2 is dedicated to this final moment. We're still thinking about this ending, whether it was right or wrong, good or bad, an act of love or betrayal. Maybe it's all those things, but that's what makes it special. I'm going to say this. The problem was the lie. It wasn't what he did, because absolutely fuck the Fireflies. I'm sorry, no person should be asked to give up a loved one's life for the sake of other people.
Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing in here? I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
No!
Shut the hell up!
Please. I don't want to.
Come on, baby girl. I got you. I got you. Oh, shit.
And finally, at number 1 is Red Dead Redemption. Man, oh man, is that a roller coaster of emotions. It's so strong and interesting and packed with powerful moments that the sequel, Red Dead Redemption 2, dedicates an entire chunk of its game to a heartwarming episode setting up the entire farm. Both games, they go so far beyond the normal endpoint for a video game. We're so used to seeing games end fairly abruptly with no payoff or very little in the way of actual ending, but Red Dead Redemption gives us time to savor the ending. After hunting down the remaining members of the Dutch Vanderlyn gang, avenging cowboy John Marston is reunited with his family at the dusty ranch that is theirs. When we originally played this game on release, we assumed the government would be waiting to ambush John, leading directly to the end of the game. Instead, we get an emotional reunion with his wife and son. There's a weird guy named Uncle there too, whatever. What follows is an entire mini episode of life on the farm. No more shootouts or armed gunmen or life or death struggles. John gets to spend quality time with his family, doing some simple errands and revisiting past friends that survived the story. It's a surprisingly sweet capper on a pretty dark story, and it gives a satisfying arc to it. If the question was, could John Marston earn redemption, the answer seems to be yes. He isn't tempted by the cowboy life. He's happy to settle down, obviously until that changes. Eventually, the government does come for John Marston. In a heart-wrenching last stand, John marches through the barn doors to face a firing squad of Army med and federal agents. Your special Red Dead revolver powers are only enough to take out a small fraction of the posse, and Marston's brutally gunned down, giving his family time to free. It's a shocking moment from a game that's so much more empathetic than the usual fare from Rockstar, and it's not even actually the ending. After John dies, his son Jack becomes the main playable character. This is a game that has a lot to say about justice, and we get to see the aftermath. It's an ending that's going to be talked about for a very long time. And that's 20 endings from some of the best games ever made. Not every game needs an emotional ending. Sometimes stomping on Bowser's head's enough, but these games went above and beyond. What do you think, though? You got something to say about one of these endings, or maybe we left one out that you think we should have talked about? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter and book me on Cameo at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.